Hey, welcome back to another episode from Life on Living Well. My name is Richard. Because before I start the podcast for this week, I quickly want to say if you'd like to know more about what Life on Living Well does, the community, you can check us out on our website at www.lifeforlivingwell.info, or you can write directly to me at Richard at lifeforlivingway.info, or you can write to info at lifeforlivingway.info. So let's get started. The topic that I have this week is the continuation of the Traveler's Diary that I've started last week, and we call this traveler a Joe. His name is Joe, and he kept a diary of his imaginative journey. So this story is just a fictional story, but it has an element that I will particularly want to bring up from the story, where it's maybe a useful point to continue to improve our own self or validate the quality we already have in ourselves. So I quickly give you a snapshot. If you missed the last week and you haven't been able to listen to it, the last week Joe wrote his diary about his experience of meeting four siblings that share the same space but with different time zones. So they all children of Zenu, and each of them have different names as he puts it in his book. So in his diary, sorry. And one he called wind, fire, water, and soil. But his first encounter is with the wind, and the experience he had with the wind is all remarkable. Also, Joe is not allowed to ask more than one question. Joe has so many questions in his head, but he only allowed to ask one question. And that one question must be good enough that we explore other questions that he's not able to ask, because Joe only allowed to spend 5 minutes with each of the siblings, and experiences that he captured, he put it down in his diary. So quickly, last week, Joe told us about his experience with the wind, and it goes like this. His first encounter was with wind, alone in the middle of nowhere. He felt the sensation in his skin, and his face was so bright. And suddenly, he heard a loud voice of whistle wind, like you are in the desert. So he look into the sky, he see a blow of the sand and the noise around the sand. So then gently a voice came to him and said, I am. Because Joe asked, are you the wind? And the person responded, yes, I am. How can I help you? Said the wind. I want to know, what is it like to be you? This is the question the Joe asked the wind. And quickly the wind tried to tell his quality to the Joe, how he enjoyed to experience multiple experiences at one time. And this is a very difficult strength for majority of people. In fact, most of the people, to able to do multiple things at the same time and do it in the best and quality way. So the wind said he covered all corner of the world. He reached all corner of the world, and he traveled in space of speed and time. But with this, many people still don't really capture the purpose of the wind. So Joe put this day down and is now looking forward to meet the second sibling. So if you haven't able to listen to the podcast last week, I encourage you to check it out. It might give you a foundation to the second part. So now this week, I'm going to the second part of Joe Diary. So this second part is more about Joe experience and have 5 minutes of time with second sibling, and let's see how it goes. Few hours later, he met the second sibling. This time, his body already experienced great displeasure from the earth. He was sweating and almost melting point. So he asked the object in front of him, "Can you move back, please? As I find this, that when you're close to me, I feel the intensity of fire." So again, he asks, just like he asked the sister, the wind, how can I help you? Asked the fire. At first, the question disappeared, but then composed himself. He was slow in speech because he didn't know how his body was functioning, because it was under extremely heat and it's uncomfortable. At one point, he thought that it's dehydrating. So he asked the same question he asked the wind. What does it take? What is it like to be like you? Then the fire started laughing. "Oh, young man, you really want to know what it means to be me? Okay, then I will try my best to tell you, as if I was kind of comedian." So when Joe realized that the fire was laughing at him based on the question he asked, Joe completely thought that maybe what he asked it was actually funny, but he couldn't see the link between his question and the humorous the fire was showing him. Or say something hilarious. So the fire started extending, say, "Young man, okay, walk beside me," with a space between them because of the heat. And the fire started. "You say, I am a fire. And I think you and many people have a very wrong impression about me." Joe interrupted. "What do you mean?" "Well, most of my actions and decisions are purely come from my heart. I cannot help it, even if I try. I am a heart first, then head second." So Joe listened attentively to the fire, and fire continued. "What I mean is that you find me wherever you see my sister, wind. My older brother, soil, also always present when I'm up here. I like to explore a bit what you people call adventure, but it is gone beyond that. Many times I discover great things that serve humanity, but also not so good that brought suffering." Then Joe tried to interrupt him again. He waited to ask follow-up question from his response, but the fire cut him off and he said, "Young man, I got to go," he said, and then he disappeared. So for that moment, Joe was a bit puzzled and amazed at the same time. He's trying so hard to remember everything the fire just said to describe his own character and why he does what he does. And so Joe quickly took his diary and started writing the encounter down. And he saw at that time his body has calmed down, and Joe tried to put the two together, because as the fire was gone, Joe can still feel the fresh air going through his body. So Joe put it down and he was looking forward to meet the third sibling. So the irony of this second sibling is, as much as you like your intellect to solve a lot of problems, majority of the challenges that you will experience in this world, because you will experience a lot, It's nothing to do with intellect, it's more to do with intelligence. And to tap with your intelligence, you have to learn or grow or develop or work or comfortable in listening with your heart. And having a healthy relationship with your heart will allow you to have enormous imagination to create ideas that you could implement or create a solution that can solve a challenging problem or even allow you to accept things the way it is. Someone once said to me one day that he was prepared to go and experience nature the following day. He packed his bag, he packed his packed lunch, and he took his boat. And then the next day came and he couldn't go. So I asked him why he didn't go. And he said, I was planning a day before to go and walk in the nature, but guess what? The nature actually came to my place. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, it was raining all day. And all I did is to switch off every noise, the phone, the TV, and just listen to the sound of the rain falling on his window. And no one ever expressed things like that before. But what happened is when you develop a healthy relationship with your intuition, which is coming from your deep heart soul, you bound to find answer to a lot of problems. When you have difficulties and challenges, spend time to just remain still, and then you get the direction what you need to do. So I hope the fire story helps someone. And if you're already in this line already, I say well done and share your experience with other people that have not reached this stage yet. And whatever you do this week, have an amazing week. Until next week, when I continue the story with the third sibling. And I hope you have an amazing week and stay safe. Thank you.